Hey guys, this is my latest restoration. This is a 1938 Emerson 87641AK, commonly referred to as a round nose. Very interesting fan, and they were only made like this with the PSC motor from 1938 to 1940. So whenever these come up, I try to pick them up if I can. But one interesting thing about this particular fan, you'll notice it does not have a reversing pull chain, and the reason for that is this fan is not reversible. The original one would have been, but when I got this fan, I tested it and the stator like instantly went up in smoke, so I think it had a short somewhere in it. I was pretty disappointed, but one interesting thing is I had an 85641 AK that I restored a couple years ago. It had a lot of shaft wear and it was really noisy and did not sound too good. So I had the idea of taking the non-reversible stator from that motor and putting it in here, taking the burnt up one out, and making this look like a reversible one. So it would have, you know, the steel irons and the bigger capacitor and the different oil cup and all that. But it wouldn't actually be reversible. So that's what I did, and a couple of little tricks and caveats to that. So these stamped steel irons, to get downdraft, the fan has to turn clockwise. And originally, the PSC, the downdraft PSC Roundnose had cast iron brackets and would turn counterclockwise for downdraft. So I had to physically flip the stator over inside this fan and run the wires up through the between the stator and the inside of the housing. I had to flip the stator upside down to make it rotate this way. So I did that. I designed a new capacitor housing that's a little bit larger than the one on the non-reversible, as was the case. So this would have had a 3.5 microfarad. This would have had a 5. But of course I used a 3.5 in this, since electrically this is a 85641 non-reversible. So I also fabricated a longer strap for the capacitor because the original one would have had a little bit of a gap. So I just wanted to try to fabricate one. I did. It's a 1-inch wide strip. What else did I do? Put a brand new lavalier, a new old stock lavalier in there. The paint is Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy and almond. I used it for the shaded pole round nose I did for my neighbor's patio, and I really like the look of that fan with the aluminum blade, so I wanted to make another one similar to it. So I went with that look, and it's here in my shop. It gets me some good circulation. This is Houston. It's already well into the 90s, and it just turned June. So it really makes things nice here on my little garage workshop area. So without further ado, let's start it up on high. So this fan would have originally had 14-degree steel irons. These are actually 15s from a later round nose, but I didn't have any 14s. And I was kind of wondering what that do to the performance, because the factory spec on this I think is 260 RPM with the 14s. I strobed this out and this high speed is 250, so it's just slightly slower. And with 15-degree irons, I mean, this thing is pushing a crazy amount of air. I mean, really, for a 52-inch fan, this is about as fast as it gets with irons like that. Like, for example, a shaded pole round nose with 15-degree irons pushes about, I don't know, 210, 215 tops. So this is 250. Pretty impressive. Okay, and then medium is about 175 RPM. This fan isn't quite as quiet as the later round noses I've noticed, but it's not a dramatic difference. It's still, I'd say it's still a quiet fan. So I was working today in my shop. I was putting together this high voltage power supply just to set things on fire. Here on this medium speed, it was just about perfect in terms of air movement. drops it to about 150. These blades are pretty heavy, so they're cut out of 1/8" thick aluminum. I use the website syndicutsin.com to do it. I have a DXF file of this blade, and I believe a set of 4 was right around $56 or so. I need to look at that again, but it wasn't terribly expensive. And usually, you know, when you're restoring antique ceiling fans, blades tend to be the limiting factor. Like all these fans here, I probably have blades for, well, I guess a little over half of them, but these are in some of the better conditioned ones. Yeah, so here's a neat comparison showing a shaded pole, round nose on the right, and a PSC on the left. You can see it's a totally different design. Yeah. Rated just 1.15 amps. Whereas these guys are 1.7. But yeah, this fan, wow, I'm really pleased with it. And I actually restored it in such a way that if I do decide to put this on my redone patio instead of the real ornate Dayton I restored earlier this year, you know, I've got enough wire for it and I can just put on a 30-inch down rod and off I go. Because I really like how this looks, and I could see having it out there one day. But for now, it is just fine as a garage fan. Let's do a coast down. I put a brand new Aetna F6 bearing in it, thrust bearing. It has a really long spin down because it's moving about 8 pounds of blades, plus the rotor, of course. I'm using Super Lube ISO 100 oil, so pretty heavy oil. It's equivalent to like a 30 weight. But I found out it does pretty well in ceiling fans. It doesn't tend to evaporate like Zoom spout can. And no leakage issues. I've tried to be real diligent when I do these to get that oil cup on there real tight, and the washer and the lock nut. But yeah, I love this paint color. I kind of want to do it on a smaller Emerson next, 36-inch. So anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. Let's start it up one more time on high. You can kind of hear the motor get up to speed. Yeah, these normally get up to speed really quickly, but these are just really heavy blades, so it takes a little bit of time. I don't know why my phone is acting up, but okay, well, anyways, thanks for watching. Certainly an interesting fan. It uses parts from a couple fans. It uses a speed coil from a long nose and a stator from a different model, and but it came together great. It moves a ton of air. And back here on my little cork board, put the catalog cut for it. So there you have it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.